6 years ago in Baltimore City, I had been working as a welfare administrator. I've been running around town helping everybody to organize until I took a look at my own community and saw that the only thing being planned for it was an expressway that was going to take 400 homes, primarily for Polish senior citizens. And when we went down to the planning department to find out about a new library, there wasn't any scheduled to 1981. And once you had finished reading Run, Puff, Run, and 1942 issues of Ladies' Home Journal, there wasn't anything there for you to read. And once you went to visit the schools, and you went down into the lavatories, and you found that the toilets didn't flush, and some of the schools couldn't pass their own building code, we decided to do something. And I think this is the same thing that began to happen to all of us in this room. We began to take a look at our own world, and we decided to change it.
Congresswoman Barbara Mikulski, the woman you've just seen, is a board member of the National Congress of Neighborhood Women. As the name implies, this organization is a countrywide coming together of community women. We feel that the best way for you to get an idea about the diversity and concerns of this fast-growing group is to meet some of its constituents.
I quit high school at 16 to help my family because we were a large family.
How many kids?
9 of us, 9 sisters and brothers. And, of course, we needed the money, so that was just to drop out, you know. But when I worked for a department store as a manager, and I did want to go to college to learn business management or merchandising, which I was very, very much interested. And then I left there and I worked for the telephone company, which I hated that because I really wanted to go to school. Well, instead I got married. And the children came along, and then all the dreams kind of faded out, you know, but now I see it all over again. They're getting older, and this is my chance to maybe do what I wanted to do from the beginning.
If you bring children into the world, you should try to make it a better world for them. And, like, you know, living in the community, and I know, like, a lot of friends that I know, they get married, and they say, oh, I can't wait to get out of Greenpoint, you know, it's so this, it's so that. But I feel, well, maybe instead of running away from the problem, stay here and try to, you know, solve the problems.
And every time that I went to meetings, the first time I got involved, I was very quiet. I was a lot like some of you women here that have been very, very soft-spoken and everything. Unbelievably so, but I was. And what happened was I started to go to meetings, and I would listen, and mainly my girlfriend would drag me to them. She didn't want to go alone. And I would listen to what was going on. I'd say, boy, they're crazy. That's not right. You can't do that. But I would say to myself, I would never speak out, God forbid. Then one day, I got so mad. It was an issue that really affected me, and I got so angry. I got up and started to speak, and they wouldn't recognize me. They refused to recognize my hand. I got so angry, I yelled out, I said, you can't do that to me. You can't do that. And I just insisted. I kept shouting over their voices until they had to shut up and listen to what I had to say. And someone from the audience, I remember a man from the audience getting up and saying to me, why don't you go home and wash your dirty dishes? And I turned around and said, if you're worried about them, go home and wash them for me.
My name is Terry Dezo, and I come from Connecticut. And hearing all these women doing all these great things for other women, I feel like I've been working on myself, and very selfishly, the past few years. I can relate to the woman yesterday who said she had a dream to go back. I wanted to be a teacher when I was 10 or 11. I had a dream. I wanted to go to college all my life. In 1969, I found myself with 9 children and alone, and so I decided I had to do something. And I went back to school. I was on welfare for 18 months. That's about all I could take of it. And worked, sometimes full-time, sometimes 1 job, sometimes 2 jobs. Went to school nights. And the past year and a half, I've been going full-time. And I have only 3 more credits to go. I just want you to know, I would like you all to feel some of the happiness that I feel. Thank you.
I am Lola Sines from Fairmont, West Virginia, from a small town of Fairview, of a one-way street. I am a mother of 6 children. The one in my home is 15 years old, and a husband. For the first time in my life that I ever had to get to come to a meeting and be away from home. My husband is a black lung leader, and he also had to retire in 70. And we worked together to try to get this bill passed before 1981. We have lobbied in Washington, D.C., and I have met a few people. But far as being away from home, this is the first time in my life I ever left my husband or my children. Thank you.
I come from a migrant family that was working around the United States in the harvest. I married in '59. My husband died in '63. I have brought up my 2 children. My girl is now 16 years old. My son is 14 years old. I went to college after my husband died. And presently, I am working with the Desegregation Center for the state of Texas. I do a lot of traveling. I used to carry a lot of guilty feelings with me because of my children. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be here because I see a lot of people, women that have struggled like I have. Okay. Assertiveness. Somehow I got my master's in counseling guidance. Like I said, I'm working in the Desegregation Center. I travel all over the United States coordinating workshops. As a matter of fact, after I get through with this here, I will start a non-biased assessment workshop in the Valley of Brownsville, Texas. I have been with the Chicano movement, and somehow I got into the women's movement, of course, because of my life. How did I get here? Why am I interested in this? It's because I've been in all phases of the women's movement. I was in the welfare line. I was out in bars. I almost got into prostitution. Okay, so in '74, February of '74, I decided to organize a group of women, and there was a big conflict. First of all, what do we call ourselves? Mexican-American women, the most acceptable name, or do we call ourselves Chicanas? So we had a big struggle there. Where do we start? Do we start with the professional women, or do we start with the barrio people, the poor women? We didn't know what to do, but what we did was that we started with the professional women, the women that could drive, the women that had cars, the women that had money, a little money, not too much money, but a little money to go to conferences. And this is how we started. We have a Chicana corporation right now, and I am here because it's very discouraging at times. It seems like things just don't move. And I just knew that if I would come over here, it would be very encouraging, and it has.
I work with the families of inmates, prisoners. This is one thing that everybody seems to forget about. But there are women prisoners. When I first went into this 4 years ago, or no, 5 years, there was 169 women in our prison. How many do we have today? When I went up there,
It was 208, and they're yet coming. We need to do something about this, because our women in prison, they should not be in prison. We've done our part. Most of them are there for murder. They murdered the old man, which I feel. A minute day, I felt like putting a spider in his dumplings, but I thought about it. He was out there helping me to take care of the young ones, so I had to put that off.
I think all of us, even those of us who may now be in various professions, or many of us, I know I do, have working class backgrounds, and sometimes I think we feel most comfortable when we get together with people from neighborhoods who have those backgrounds. Because the fundamental struggle of working women, neighborhood women, women who are involved in the business of participating in society in every way, in the home as well as in the factory, in the fields, in professions, in offices, are women essentially on whom this country has been based and built. Many of us have created the generations which have peopled this nation. And what I think most people don't understand, and what your statement is being made in a very eloquent way to the public to understand, is that a woman's movement is a movement of all women. And fundamental to the movement of women is the participation of all of us as we come out of our neighborhoods, as we come out of our backgrounds, to come together, to exchange our ideas and to discuss our problems. The women whom the Congress of Neighborhood Women represent know that the women's movement is something real. It's not some intellectual, upper middle class thing that people try to make it. It's our problems. It's ours. It's us. It's our today. And more than today, it's our tomorrow. We come together for today because we have to build a tomorrow for ourselves, for our neighborhoods, and for our kids, and their neighborhoods, and their hopes, and their future, in the neighborhood, in the city, in the state, and in the country. I believe that the women's movement is real because this is real.
I came from a blue-collar working class background, and I was always concerned about what was happening with us. And I was always concerned about how we were going to get together, and I sort of lost hope, and I sort of, you get discouraged, you never see things happening. And just being here today and feeling so close and so good about the people here, it just really makes you feel that things are happening and that women can get together and we can get together and provide a voice for ourselves and for all our sisters and our mothers and everybody in our community and neighborhoods, and we can make things change. And I really feel that this is, that we're the people here that have been working on things, and we've kept communities together, and just like the little changes that seem so little to people, like going back to college, doesn't seem like a lot to some people, but it's a lot for us. And just being able to speak in front of a lot of people and talk and meet other people and just dealing with who we are and stopping having to deny where we came from and what that means to us. And I feel really good that we don't have to deny any of that anymore.
In the Congress, the biggest fights are to get a few more dollars so that people can live decently and with some kind of economic dignity. To ensure that people get jobs, to ensure that the jobs are well-paying, to ensure that working conditions are safe and sanitary. These are enormous battles. It's a lot easier when the special interests, the oil companies, the shipping interests, the banking interests, all of them, they have their little thing they want to get through. That gets acted on very fast. And that's why, in the long run, bringing women into politics, bringing women in from neighborhood groups who are not there to fight for special interests, but are there to represent the people, will change the nature of our politics in a very fundamental way, and more than anything else I can think of. Just think, in the whole history of this country, there's never been a woman to sit on the Supreme Court. Never. Just think, there are only 4 women right now out of all the federal judges in the country. Not a single woman as an attorney, U.S. attorney. 3 women in the whole history of this country to serve in the cabinet of the United States. And I think that that has to come to an end. And that it's groups like yours, working at the grassroots, learning how to work together, learning your own power from working together, that can begin to make a difference.
We are fighting for liberty. We want some action taken now. We are artists, and we are weaving. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. We are weaving for liberation. We want some action taken now. We are moving. We are marching. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. We are marching for liberation. We want some action.